Wake me at 3:30 a.m. I haven't quite finished my work. Were Franz Joseph's last words according to his valet Kettel. At the same time, thousands of soldiers were dying on the battlefields of the First World War, and people were going hungry on the home front. Franz Joseph was born at Schönbrunn, the eldest of 5 children. From childhood onwards, he was schooled for his future role as emperor. The greatest influence on his later conception of himself as monarch was his mother, Sophie. Franz Joseph saw himself as the latest in a line of Habsburg rulers that had endured for over 600 years. To the very last, he adhered rigidly to the traditions of the dynasty. His signature ultimately unleashed the First World War and led to the fall of his empire. The emperor, a mortal like the rest of us. Imperial childhood, musical instruments, playthings, uniforms. He was fond of drawing. The early years of his reign were marked by the 1848 revolution. He agreed only reluctantly to reforms. In the choice of his bride, he let himself be ruled by his heart. Franz Joseph had a difficult relationship with his only son Rudolf. His death affected him deeply. Further blows of fate were to follow. Elizabeth's assassination made the burden of age even harder for him to bear. He made his last journey from Schönbrunn to the Hofburg and finally to the Imperial Crypt in this coach. But this was how it all started. The 5-year-old Francie was given this children's calash as a Christmas present. However, he let his younger brothers play with it, preferring to devote himself to his much-loved tin soldiers. The pint-sized Archduke told his parents, "Everything to do with the military is my favourite thing." Throughout his life, the emperor wore military uniforms whenever possible, wearing comfortable hunting dress when in the country. He also expected the carriages he used to be practical and up-to-date. He used this open carriage up to the end of his life to fetch high-ranking guests from the railway station, even at the coldest time of year. The imperial fleet also boasted magnificent state coaches. But the emperor preferred to let his wife Elizabeth use these, for her ceremonial entry into Vienna as his bride, and for the ceremony marking the couple's coronation as King and Queen of Hungary in 1867. He himself preferred to drive plain 2-horse carriages made by Viennese coachmakers, which were relatively inexpensive. By contrast, it was a costly affair to protect the emperor from any further attempts on his life. The monarch was particularly at risk on the drive to and from the Hofburg and Schönbrunn. A large number of police always had to be posted along Maria-Hilfer-Straße to ensure his safety. Court pomp and stately festivities were part of his duties, but gave him no pleasure. Quite the reverse. He was a man of modest personal requirements. His personal culinary preferences have left their mark on Austrian cuisine to this day. Boiled beef, goulash, Kaiserschmarrn, and Gugelhupf. The festivities to mark the jubilees of his reign and marriage provided a stage for the display of splendour for which the Viennese court was famed. The Ringstrasse in Vienna becomes the symbol of the imperial city's late splendour. Vienna is transformed into a modern capital. The middle and working classes begin to demand their share in political affairs. Franz Joseph and his court increasingly become a relic of bygone times. The good old emperor stands for continuity and gives his people a feeling of security in an age of huge change. His daily routine is planned down to the last detail. Franz Joseph increasingly becomes a monument to himself. Not until his old age, in his relationship with his grandchildren, did he put the man before the monarch. His lifelong passion was hunting. There were imperial hunting reserves all over the empire. Bad Ischl and the Salzkammergut provide him with a refuge from my life of files and papers. Nature, peace and quiet, the lack of ceremony, breaking out from the rigid mould of social constraints. Franz Joseph has been dead for 100 years, but his legend lives on. The Old Gentleman at Schönbrunn. It was very nice. I enjoyed it very much.